and welcome to our show, Geeks Wired Podcast, where we talk about video games, movies, TV, comic books, technology, and DLDR, the Internet of Things. I'm your host, Bill, and this week we have Anthony.
Hello. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Anthony. You want to know something else?
What's that?
Our listeners can contact us. They can send us an email at geekswired@gmail.com or send us a voicemail or a text message at 801-896-4335. That's also 801-896-GEEK. You can help support us by going to our patreon.com/geekswired Patreon page, where they get access to the podcast early, and it really does help us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's up?
So, you know how you train AI?
With the current approach, yeah. The
Yeah.
top down, I think, is the approach that we use right now.
Yes.
Because that's really all we can do right now. But
So, what do you do with it? So, for, I guess, listeners, the explanation is you take something and you just feed it information. And it learns this information.
yeah, so like if you want to train an AI to recognize like if there's cats in a picture that you give it, then you just feed it a known like good data set of cat pictures. And then I think you periodically feed it in pictures that don't have cat pictures, and then it will learn. Yeah, it basically finds a way to learn what it means to be a cat or look like a cat, and then it can very slowly. It does take a while, but you can teach it to pick out cats pretty easily, or anything else really. I just chose cats.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of people choose, animals or bugs or stuff like that when they usually explain it. But that's the thing is you feed this thing stuff, you feed the AI stuff, and it recognizes the stuff, just the stuff.
Yes.
So
what article are you looking at?
I'll pull it in. The human version of this.
Explain.
So somebody just won the French Scrabble tile. He does not speak French. He is like the best at Scrabble, period.
So he knows the words, but he can't read it or speak it.
Well, he can read it, obviously.
No, not necessarily.
But he can't speak it. No, he knows. Okay, you're right. He knows the words. He might not know their translation.
Yeah,
but he knows.
He might not understand the meanings of them.
Yeah, so he knows the words. And this guy is so ridiculous. Like he is. Let's see, where was it? He ended up getting some ridiculous score in America where he had some mundane random characters, and he was still able to like pull off. I think it could have spelled out like the word character or something like that, and he was able to tie it to a bunch of other things and got this ridiculous pointage out of it. But for the French one, what he did is so he's just that good in general. He doesn't know French, so he basically sat down with a French dictionary and learned the words. Now, French Scrabble has 386,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
North American Scrabble only has 187,000. So he went from being the best North American Scrabble player to learning 386,000 words and then competing at that one. It's kind of like the idea of like Tiger Woods going, "Oh, I'm the best at golf. Well, this is fun. I'm going to go pick up tennis and then win."
So why is this the human version of an AI?
Because that's what he basically did. He opened up the dictionary and if he hears things, it doesn't really stick, but if he reads it, it helps and it sticks. So he ended up basically just sitting down with a French dictionary and looked at 386,000 words, or I guess the French Scrabble authorized words, and learned 386,000 words.
Okay,
Kind of
I
like
guess I
that's
could
why
kind of
the
see
AI,
it.
because that, yeah, it's the, but that's why they're comparing, is the being compared to as the equivalent to an AI, because he's constantly just feeding his information in. Yes, he's not, so he's able to regurgitate, like, this is a French, obviously it's not the evolution of the AI part, but it's the ingestion of the AI part. But still, that doesn't happen with humans normally.
No, because most of the time, I'm gonna guess he has some kind of like photographic memory of some sort because you would. There's no normal reason why you'd be able to remember words that much. So, if I had to guess, at least.
And it's obviously the visual of it, because if he hears it, it doesn't register.
Well, no, because he doesn't know what they sound like.
Well, no, that's just his. That's what he said is his thing.
Yeah.
If you were to like tell him things, it wouldn't sink in. But
Oh, I
him
see what you
looking at
mean.
this sinks in.
So where some people they can just like passively listen to something and they just retain it. He
Mm,
has to actually read it to retain it.
yes.
Okay. That's the angle you were going for.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he, I don't know, maybe like, because an AI approach to this would be, well, there's a couple ways you could do it, but to be efficient, like space efficient at it, you would basically have it like with it looking at all these words, it could piece together basically an algorithm of how the French language works. So it could theoretically come up with words, but that doesn't necessarily mean those words exist. It just
And they
means that
don't.
they would make sense to exist.
Yes. And they may
So,
not make sense. They may not exist in the French Scrabble
well, they
rule
just may not exist,
authorized rules.
period, though, either,
Yeah, that too.
because you can make words in English that don't exist currently, but
But with slang and with evolution of language, they could
mhm.
become existing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess coming up with an algorithm for a language would be kind of weird. Like with English, good luck, because it's just like the word muggle wasn't a thing for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
it is. That's not breaking any rules. It's got consonants and vowels. So, but yeah.
Oh, and he also correct or successfully challenged incorrect words.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so he's that good. He actually challenged people who were like, "This is a word." He's like, "Nope."
So were they real words or were they just not words in Scrabble?
They don't go into the details
Oh,
on it. They
because I
just
that would I would wonder about that because if they were real French words, they just weren't in the Scrabble word list, then that'd be one thing. But if it was like if they were trying to use words that didn't exist, then he would be able to pick up on that by maybe like intrinsically understanding the rules of how the French language is put together without actually realizing he's doing it. But I don't know.
no. That was the idea. Is he learned the word, so the people could have been doing it, going like, "Oh, I use this word. This is a word," and he was like, "That's not a word that's allowed in the game."
Okay.
And I also could see, yes, people could be trying to deceive him, going like, "You don't actually speak French. I'm going to use this to my advantage." And the first time they do it, he calls them on
Oh,
it.
I see.
Yeah, because think about it, if you knew somebody did not know your language at all, you might try some hokey stuff.
I mean, if you want to cheat, yeah. That's interesting. So,
But it was really interesting. I
yeah,
know it's like
it's
extra different nerdy, but
well, it's just kind of fascinating, just for the sole reason of he doesn't know the language at all. So you would think he wouldn't even be able to play it, not at least, or at least not be able to play it and win like this kind of a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So
And so in the final score that was with the last game, it was 565 to 434. So that's he even like the final person he played with, which would have, who was the person who won the French title consecutively is, well, I think, let me double check that. Well, either way, but he won the final like with a decent score.
yeah,
And it's really awesome. That just like there's people out there like that. It's like, and he's basically been said that he is the world's greatest Scrabble player.
I feel like I'm missing. Nope, never mind. I found the articles. So sorry. Are you done with this or?
Yeah, I'll be done with this.
Okay.
I'm done with my nerding out on this. What you got?
Um, let's do this one. The Apple and Google back to smart home standard. It's not that they've made this standard; they're just part of the backing for it. I
All
think
right,
we've talked about it before.
maybe it depends.
It
You're
sounds
you're in.
vaguely familiar, but it's
Oh yes,
basically the
go ahead.
Zigbee Alliance announced project. That project, Connected Home over IP, is a plan to unify smart home connectivity with a single standard platform, and it's on track to be released next year. And they've been working on it since December 2019. And I think they have 150
I feel
companies
like it's
signed
been
up.
longer than that.
I mean, it might have
That's
been
what the
the
article says. Yeah, the article says that, but I feel like maybe there was a lot of the prep work that was
yeah.
built in
There's
before
probably prep
that.
work for sure, but that's just when they actually like started. But
And this is the other thing is the Zigbee Alliance, because I don't think this article says, but this is just my knowledge of, you're right. We've talked about this. I've been following this for a while, and Google was one of the big ones behind it. So was Samsung. So was Apple. There's quite a few companies behind it, but when they call themselves the Zigbee Alliance, it doesn't mean this is only for Zigbee,
no, yeah.
because Z-Wave actually joined the Z-Wave technology has joined the Zigbee Alliance, so they can unify under a standard that can be used on multiple things.
So like they're not necessarily unifying on the communication part of it, or sorry, the infrastructure part of it, but more on the communication part.
Well, they're unifying on having you can have multiple different types. Kind of like it's kind of like wireless, where there's high band, mid band, low band, and there's lots and lots of things that actually kind of define how these bands work.
Mm-hmm.
But our cell phone can work on multiple towers, multiple different technologies, multiple different towers. But what happens with this technology, with these wireless, is they still have to follow certain rules. And that's what the Zigbee Alliance is doing, is that a lot of these technologies, a lot of these wireless capabilities can come in, but they need to follow certain rules. And they're also building upon internet protocol rules. It's basically the goal of the Connected Home over IP project. Simplify the development for manufacturers to increase compatibility with their consumers. This is also going to help with devices and everything like that. So everyone has to come together. This does not mean that your current smart devices will not work. This is just that they are, some of this technology may already be following the rules that they're going to set out. That's the other thing about a lot of the technology being out there. Sometimes they tweak it. Sometimes technologies get dropped.
Yes. Um, so it does sound like with this though that they have to be network enabled. or have to at least have the concept of the network stack.
Yeah, well, that's are the internet protocol rules. The
Yeah,
building upon the internet protocol.
but do Z-Wave and Zigbee use internet protocol for that?
Yes, because they still have to. There's still the. I forgot the idea of what they can use for how much stuff can be sent at the same time. Who come, first the rules of how information is trafficked. So there's a lot of that. That is still the internet protocol stuff. So a lot of yes, a lot of that is still there. A lot of that's built in. That's also how a lot of them are able to make mesh networks.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just that back before the IP protocol was a thing, like TCP, there was a competing, like not necessarily competing standard, but there was another standard that other people were using, and TCP is just the one that happened to win out. So I was just wondering, because just because you can communicate over a network and understand, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be TCP. But I did just look up, and Zigbee does use IPv6, but they have a network layer, like I think their own network layer, but it is basically just IPv6 traffic. So I'm sure
And
Z-Wave is about the same thing too.
did I actually add that? I did not. And I just threw in the show notes the connected home IP.com. It's the project. So this is the link to the latest updates for the project, how it's going to work, the companies that are involved, because what you have is that Google and Apple are in on this. The thing is they've been in on this.
Yeah.
Google, that's one of the things that everyone talks about is like Google is backing this. Like this is to have one of the big players like that, and Amazon. So the two big speakers out there, Amazon and Google, getting them behind it. So we have with their website, you have IKEA, you have NXP Semiconductors, Rosario, Samsung Smart Things. Let's see, Philips Lights, or Singify, formerly Philips Lights, Silicon Labs. You still have quite a few companies that are even behind this. Besides, obviously Amazon, Apple, Google.
Right. Sorry, I'm trying to read up on the Z-Wave technology to see if it's see what kind of internet protocol thing it supports. It's probably the same thing. I'm not seeing it though. So, ooh, radio frequencies.
It's basically a lot of the stuff that ends up falling under that.
No, so they don't use it. Doesn't use the 2.4 gigahertz.
Does that
Uses
mean?
2.4 gigahertz is what
Wait, are you talking about Z-Wave or Zigbee?
Z-Wave at this point.
Yes, Z-Wave does not use the 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah, Zigbee does though. I'm pretty sure. But
Yes, Zigbee does.
Z-Wave uses different frequencies in different countries. So
But
like,
you don't have to be on 2.4 to be part of the internet protocol rules.
no, I know.
Okay, I thought that's what you were kind of stuck on, because remember that's the reasons I've talked about getting away from Zigbee and preferring the Z-Wave stuff is because most of my internet is on the 2.4, and I didn't want, even though the chances of them overlapping each other and kind of butting heads wasn't super high, I wanted to reduce that as much as I could.
Is that for your internet connected device's sake or for your Zigbee device's sake?
Yes,
Because with
absolutely.
Zigbee, I would be more worried about your internet connected stuff like your laptops and stuff having
Mm-hmm.
issues with the conflicting, because the Zigbee stuff, if it conflicts, it'll just send the packet out again, and that traffic's not going to be super heavy, so it's not that big of a deal.
True, and that I really just wanted to reduce any headache, really.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, Z Wave is anywhere between 865.2 all the way up to 926 or something like that megahertz. They have a whole smattering of frequencies for some reason. But
And there's stuff like that, anyways, with the frequencies allowed in certain countries. So that makes sense.
yeah, I mostly included this just because I kind of forgot about it, and
It's still really cool.
yeah, like it's cool, and it'd be nice to have one standard. I was hoping it would be more of a well, actually, so hopefully it's ends up being something that like if you buy a device, it's guaranteed to work with any of these other
Yes,
things that are
that is
connect
what
or
they're
that
going
are
for.
okay, good. Because right now I have a bunch of stuff that like it works with smart things or it works with well Philips Hue, anything Philips Hue will work with smart things, but or
Well,
at least the older stuff. But then
and
there's
that's what a
stuff that
lot.
works with HomeKit and stuff like that, and it's just all disconnected. And then you hook them up on your assistants, and you get duplications because even though like some aren't available in the other one, and then you have to get all of them, and then yeah, like all my lights are duplicated right now
Mm,
because of that, or most of them at least.
and that type of idea was talked about early on. That everyone would be like, "Oh, that's why you have the hub, so everything will work on everything." And then certain things like Samsung Smart Things end up going, "We want to work with everything." And then a lot of the personal, do-it-yourself builds, obviously, those were built to work with everything.
Mm-hmm.
But other companies didn't want to work with everything because if I sell you a hub, I want to sell you all the things that are attached to the hub, and I want to make the money. And I also want to control the information that passes through this. If you buy somebody else's hub and buy our stuff to work on it, yes, you bought the add-on, but you didn't buy the main item, and we might not be getting the information off of it. That's why Apple started doing hokey stuff like if you have a speaker in your house, we get to know whether all your lights are on or off and where they're located.
Hmm.
Like all the time.
I do know that right now that there's these peanut smart plugs that I buy periodically because they're pretty cheap. There's Z-Wave, but on the Amazon page it says that you are like in order to get this connected up with Madame A, you have to have a specific hub for it, and it has no mention of it just being straight up Z-Wave, I don't think, and so you have to look into the comments or like the question answer section to see if it supports smart things. It does, but
Well,
you got
that's
to
the
look
nice
for it
thing.
to find out.
That was the nice thing about Z-Wave is it was, uh, what is it called? Uh, Open source.
Correct, but there's
So
also the thing of like just because it's Z-Wave or stuff like that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work with smart things. Someone still has to build a device handler for it.
correct. But
So,
that's the thing about the smart things. They're usually smart things have been getting way better with that. There was some you had to go out and get the handler and you had to bring it in and you had to do all the things. They've definitely gotten way better with it. Trying to think, and because there was one I bought that had two plugs. Oh, there it is. Zoos smart plug.
zoos.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting. It's not a bad price. Just throw it in the show notes. For the listeners, I don't support, or not being paid for this company, but I do support. I do like this product. I have it, and it. There was when I was looking into it,
That's
there was
weird
talk.
looking.
Oh, but it's flat against the wall. That's what the best thing is. So it's like great behind a desk or a
Yeah.
couch. Yeah, it
Unless
has
you
a
want to
USB
use the
plug.
USB port.
Yeah, which the USB port is also smart too because you can tell the USB port to stop charging. So everything on this is smart. All the two plugs on the sides and the USB plug. I when I first got it, it said that there, or that people were talking about going, one side worked with smart things, the other one you had to manually do it, and or you had to go hunt out the drivers and install them to smart things. You had to do the hard stuff.
Yeah,
I
that
plugged
kind
it
of
in.
makes sense.
Well, I plugged it in, hooked up to smart things. I think it said there was an update, took care of that. It recognizes both of them. I just had to make sure to name them unique so I knew what I was doing. I
Yeah,
didn't deal with the
because
USB plug because I didn't really care about it. It was the
uh,
two regular plugs.
I don't know. The USB plug would be kind of cool in some cases, like not for charging, but for just powering something that's USB powered. It'd be
Yeah.
nice. But hub needed. Yeah, I
But
haven't
yeah, it's
heard of Zeus. That's cool. Zeus.
yes.
Supposedly it works with all the way up to 15 amps, so I don't know that I'd put my space heater on it, but you supposedly could.
Yeah, I wouldn't. These smart plugs actually just be like, just any plug your space heater in your wall. Just do that.
Yeah, but then I can't tell my Madam A to turn it on. It's important to me, Bill.
Yeah, sorry. That's one of those things you might just, for your safety and your house's safety
No,
and
I
all
know.
that,
Probably
you
don't
should
do it.
just manually do that stuff.
Or get one of those that are
Oh, there is. Yes, I
temperature
forgot. There,
controlled.
or there is the industrial ones. I forgot that you can get like a super. There's ones like you should not plug your fridge into anything but the wall
Yeah,
because when it kicks on to do a thing, it it yanks just there's that spike of energy it needs, and it will basically pop surge protectors, UPSs, smart plugs. But there are smart plugs out there to like measure usage, and same thing with washers and dryers and things like that that are made for that type of stuff. This like we will support massive push,
yeah, because
which
they're
is great.
probably more of a like the solid state relays. I think is what those are. But like yeah, they're just designed to handle that much amperage.
Yeah. Um, found some 16
Ooh, this
amp.
one. No, this one actually has this plug that you linked.
Yeah.
Supposedly has a lot of stuff. Like you can check voltage.
Oh, that
Uh,
a lot of them you can.
yeah, I've been told that. I haven't found out a way to do it on my Peanut. Or it's
Well,
so
that's,
it's
a lot of them have. I didn't know if all of them. I
so
don't wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them
it's
do.
reports that it has the ability, but it only ever says 0. So
Let me look at mine actually,
that's a thing. But
because I have a couple of them varying types. My no brand loyalty.
yeah,
Smart
otherwise known
things.
as pure chaos.
Yes. Ooh, I'm curious if that says anything. I also have like one of the outdoor plugs that maybe if it was plug actually on. Ah, actually, the outdoor plug has way more on it than I thought it did.
The what?
My outdoor plug has way more on it than I thought it did.
You have an outdoor smart plug?
Yes, and it's Z-Wave.
What is it? Or is it that? I wonder if it's this.
There's a couple of them. I think it's the GE. I'm not even sure if I can find that particular one anymore
Oh, I think I
because
found.
they've updated them. I thought.
I think I found one that would support like another Zeus outlet that would support high amperage stuff. It's on the same page. It's the $40 one.
Oh, I've stepped away from.
I know, but or I didn't know that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
basically Why are my lights off? That's
Oh,
weird. Um, yeah, it says it's for AC units, sump pumps, humidifiers,
I
etc.
forgot. Yeah, stuff like that, which is good to have smart plugs on because you have lots of control, but the amps are ridiculous on them. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to be cautious. And the outdoor plugs, you need to make sure that they are waterproof or rainproof or stuff like that, especially where I like using them for holiday lights. I like using them for porch lights. You just have these things that they can take the weather and they'll survive.
Yeah, no, it makes
So
sense. I would totally do that.
it is a GE plug, is what, and there's a new generation out now.
Ooh.
It's they're not cheaper. They're not cheap. I have not got a lot of them. Like this one's $40 on sale. They're good. I enjoy it.
And
Does
there's
its
Z
job.
Wave.
It is Z Wave and Z Wave Plus, in fact, too.
And that the plus is a security thing, isn't it?
It's the next generation.
Right, but I mean, it's due to security, isn't it?
Security and depending on which ones you look at, it also supports the mesh network
Is Z
option.
Wave not mesh by default?
It depends on which one you look at. I've heard yes, no, maybe so. But the first gen was the hit or miss. The second gen, the plus was, unless they did something wonky with it, did. But
Hmm.
that's also this GE one is one of the more expensive ones. There is, and also during the holiday season, you can find smart outdoor plugs, but they're usually Wi-Fi. If you,
Ugh.
well, if you have everything, if you don't have a hub, that makes sense because then everything connects to your internet, and then your assistants control it. But as I have come to find out, so a lot of wireless modems routers have limited connections sometimes, which is still stupid. I've upgraded for the third time in the last 6 months
You just need to go wired with everything.
to start drilling holes through the entire house, plug
Yeah,
it all in,
or
wire up my smart assistants.
you could do what Joey did and get one of those like Unify like setups where you can have multiple access points. I don't think your house is big enough to warrant that, but it
So I
is an
had done
option.
that, and I think they were overlapping and giving me problems.
Yeah, they would overlap too much, I think. Like the only time it makes sense, I think, is if you have more than two stories. And by two stories, I mean more than like your house is, I would consider two, even though one of them's a basement. But yeah, basically, if you have more than two floors, then I think it becomes not necessarily necessary, but more beneficial. Or if you want to have, like, if you have a shed out in the back and you want to connect them together, like, there's other ways of doing it, obviously, but that's one way to do it because you can set them into bridge mode where I think it
Yeah.
will take the, yeah, I don't know, but there's ways to do it.
So you making me go through my smart things app. I think I've never like really gone through it since one of their latest updates. Did you
Okay.
realize you can set timers on all of your electric stuff, like my
Uh,
lights and all that, or your plugs?
I don't know. All I know is I have an automation that I literally can't get rid of. And it was
That sucks.
originally for my Christmas tree. And because that was my fan plug, I renamed it to Christmas tree because I didn't need the fan anymore because it was wintertime. And then I've since changed it back to fan,
Mm-hmm.
but the Christmas tree automation's still running. So the fan will kick on like sometime like around like 8:30 in the morning on weekends, and it won't shut back off until like midnight.
Oh, yay!
So it's unplugged right now, but maybe I'll try to delete it. I haven't tried for like a month or two because I couldn't. But I am
Yeah, and I was
curious.
just looking like certain lights. There's just like, oh, I could like set these things, especially like the smart plugs. Especially if it's one that's just like, oh, things just get plugged into it, and or you only want this on during, for charging things, or only want it on during the day. I don't know. If you want some
Oh,
random
so is
weird
it like
thing.
a default timer to where if it turns on, it will automatically turn off after so much time?
So there's three sections. So there's timer. This will turn on or off. So after like it gives an example. After 1 hour, turn on or turn off. Then there's power on every day at. It gives the example at 6 p.m. Turn on. Power off weekdays at 10 p.m. Turn off. So there's a lot of stuff with it now. And
Oh
apparently I
my
have not
goodness, I
been
was able
paying
to delete
attention.
it.
Yay.
It's been bugging me for months. Sorry.
That's right. And I do like also like the door sensors and all that. There's always that interesting stuff where it gives the temperature, because if you have
Yeah.
door sensors or the motion sensors or all sorts of other things that that have these like sensor, or at least have the temperature sensors in them, you can use those sensors if you have a smart thermostat, you can tie it all together. So instead of having to blanket your house in temperature sensors, if your house is blanketed in motion or door or window or sensors that have these things built in,
Can
then
you do you have to build up some kind of weird automation to take advantage of that, or is there something built into smart things now to do it for you? Do you know what I'm trying
there
to ask?
was before that because like told it to. So you could say you could build the automation. Pretty sure it was an automation that you could go when this sensor says. There might be a lot of building to it. Their automation's gotten good, but sometimes when you set routines, they can get really complicated.
Yeah.
You kind of setting up steps. Like I've tried to set up steps where like define the home, define the away, define the asleep, and then when it changes states, that state triggers a different step.
Yeah. So to me, what I ended up doing is I set all that up, like made it
Mm-hmm.
to where it would change states based on whether I was there or not. And then I had, I think it's called web something, piston web. Anyways, I had that listen to state changes and then do the stuff I wanted because it's much easier to control it there.
Mm.
So I can't talk about how annoying that is. It's called WebCore, by the way. The automation software I was talking about.
Yeah, but you also have the third generation hub. So
Nope.
you did. Oh, you don't. Oh, you have the
I
second one.
Yep.
Because doesn't the third generation one have all the extra storage for stuff like that?
I don't know. I just know that it doesn't have the battery backup anymore and it has Wi-Fi built into it.
Yeah, there's pros and cons. Yeah,
Because the
and
second gen and the first gen you had to hardwire in, like with an Ethernet cord.
oh yeah. Well, and also the third gen, you can if you end up getting Samsung's mesh network, it's built into that.
They have their own.
Yeah, Samsung has its own mesh network.
Oh, for Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Okay. I was
Well,
like, they have their
technically,
own
it is.
protocol.
Well, okay, no, not pro. Well, they have remember they want to be, you know, work with everybody. They want they just want
Yeah,
everyone to
that's
be
why.
working
That's why
together.
it surprised me whenever you said that. I was like, what?
Yeah,
Because that doesn't match up with what they've been trying to do all this time.
yeah, their mesh router, mesh Wi-Fi. Yeah, your mesh router can have or has smart things with it. So you can have your internet and your smart things all working together with each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, maybe I don't know. Maybe I should go with this if I. Of course, I was expecting like a Gen 4 to be coming out here soon, so I was gonna wait because this doesn't have Wi-Fi 6, so That is the other reason I actually haven't
Oh,
looked at
you,
this
you
one at all.
poor thing.
I know. I must have my Wi-Fi 6.
To be fair though, if you got that mesh network thing, it might actually be better for you because the broadcast range for those probably wouldn't be the best, or it would like, because I think, well, I'm not gonna say this, but it would be cool if they did like the mesh network thing. They had a way to turn down the power on all of it except for like one antenna that's facing uh the other Wi-Fi router, or just the Wi-Fi access point, so that you could have like a direct communication that way, like a powerful one going that way, but then a little weaker one so it doesn't like interfere with each other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, because like ideally you'd hardwire both of them in, but not everybody's house is set up for that, especially if it's a, well, if it's not built within the last like 15 to 20 years, you're not going to have Ethernet wire or moved throughout your house. And even then, the places you'd want to put the access points probably don't have Ethernet ports to begin with, because they're either going to be in your attic or on a wall somewhere, like high up. But
So did you end up hearing about Asus? Speaking of the Wi-Fi 6,
no, what are you talking about?
Asus is debuting the first Wi-Fi 6E router.
What's 6E?
It's faster, it's bigger, it's stronger.
Asus Wi-Fi 6E.
Let's see. Let me throw that link in. I had read about this. I wasn't thinking
Oh,
about
it's
throwing
part
it.
of the Republic of Gamers stuff.
Yes, it is a gaming
That's too
router.
many antennas.
It's
That thing
only
looks like it's a.
8.
I guess it is only 8.
It does look like a lot. It does look like it should. It's a giant spider that's going to like crawl around your house and make sure you have great Wi-Fi, though.
Yeah, it's just, how much is it?
Oh, that's the thing. That is the great thing. Is
I'm not sure if I should be excited or not about that reaction.
oh, that's just so. Their Wi-Fi 6 model that is currently out is currently $450.
So is this like 800?
They haven't named it yet. That's
Oh.
where it goes. But that is the CNET's talking about it with this article I linked. They're saying do not expect this to come in cheap.
So do you have anything that is actually Wi-Fi 6?
Yes.
Because that uses 6 gigahertz, doesn't it? Oh, wait.
This okay, so
That's 6
this one.
6E does. Okay.
Yeah, 6E does. Yeah, that's something they were talking about.
So
Mine
what?
is mine is only mine uses the 2.4 and the 5, but I think 5 is only 6.
Hmm?
I'd have to actually. I do not know that. Let's go with that. I'm gonna just straight up say I do
5 is
not
only
know.
6. What do you mean?
I'm gonna pull that comment back. Let's go with that.
Okay, because 5 gigahertz has been around ever since Wi-Fi
No,
was
I meant
introduced.
well, okay. I meant 6E or Wi-Fi 6, not 6
Because
gigahertz.
A was 5 gigahertz only. Then when they went from B to G, that was 2.4. And then N, they added back in 5. And then since then, it's been 2.4 or 5 gigahertz.
So is Wi-Fi 6? What's it allowed to use, or what
I'm
is
going to
it?
guess 2.4 and 5, but Wi-Fi 6 radio frequency. Oh, maybe it can only. Wait.
Is it only 5?
Yeah, it might only be 5.
Yeah,
List of
Wi-Fi 6
WLAN
bands
channels.
the 1200 megahertz. So it does. Wi-Fi 6 goes from 5. It says 5.925 to 7.125 gigahertz.
Oh, really?
So Possible more. But
There
my
was a
phone.
J.
What are you talking about?
There was a J specification.
All right. What's that mean?
Like how there was A, B, C, A, C, A, X, whatever.
Yeah.
There's apparently an H and a J as well.
Well, we're on
Which
double letters. We're already on AX,
I
so it
know.
would
Like
make
it
sense there
makes.
would have been.
I mean, it makes sense that there was, but they usually don't publish them. Like unless they're like releasing them.
Yeah. Well, you can usually find the stuff that wasn't published too. You can find information depending on like with the Wi-Fi Alliance and all that. They'll talk about it usually, but that's why we're going from this IEEE 802.11ax standard to calling it Wi-Fi 6,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
kind of nice. That means the next one, instead of the next one being, oh, what'll be the next name? Is it going to be AZ? Is it going to be QW? It's going to be 7. The background it will be irrelevant. Though, actually, I shouldn't say that it should be 7 because apparently 6E is coming out. So never mind. I just literally got proved wrong in the
Well, I mean,
podcast all at once.
well, they're probably doing that for just because 4G and 5G they had the E. Well, yeah, they had the E, like the evolution. Maybe that was only 5G, but it's probably just like a simple amendment just before Wi-Fi 7, whatever it be.
And also the thing, you'll get the information travel, but you won't travel as far. And that's where your mesh network comes in that you were talking about. You might
Okay.
not need to
Okay.
go
Okay.
as far.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Wi-Fi 6 is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, but it also says 1 to 6 gigahertz.
In other words, it's all over the place.
AC is only 5. N was 2.4 and 5. G was 2.4. A was 5. And B was 2.4.
All right, throw that link in the show notes.
Okay, I need to uses.
Or throw the link in chat and I'll throw it in the show notes.
No, I'll just do this. I got it. It's fine. I got it.
Do you?
I got it.
All right.
I don't have
Which
it.
of the 20 rows of the show notes that we see did you throw it in?
What are you talking about? It's right there. It's right at the bottom.
The Wi-Fi wiki?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Specifically, it's in the uses section, like the tables right there. But I decided just to link the whole thing.
It's all right.
ISM. I want to figure out what that is. Isn't that cell tower stuff?
I have no clue what you're looking at or what you're talking about. Oh, the ISM band?
Yeah.
It says for unlicensed use, which I would, because of that, I would go, what type of radio? I forgot what they're called.
Modem?
No, the where you have to get those giant antennas in people's yards.
Oh, satellite?
No, not giant satellites, giant antennas.
Ham?
Yeah. No, is that right? Maybe.
I'm gonna guess they probably didn't use them though, or it wasn't used that much.
It's used. Did you click on the link?
Yeah, but it's just straight up
Oh,
like a
it's
generic
for
band.
industrial, scientific, and medical purposes.
Oh, okay.
Reserved internally. So that is what that spectrum is for.
So does that mean that they would use that if they didn't want it to interfere with other stuff?
Yes.
Which if that's the case, then everything that would connect to the normal Wi-Fi would work. Like you'd have to have special hardware to do that.
Yeah, there is. And actually, and that was right. So amateur radio and amateur satellite service.
Yeah,
So
ham.
there is part of
Amateur
that in
satellite
this.
service.
Yes,
That's a thing?
it is.
Where's that at?
So under examples of frequency allocations, under the
I
definition,
think I found it and then I hit Control F and it's gone.
fine. Look at this, and it's in the show notes. So I'll link that for our customers, their listeners, people,
Customers.
customers. If you're paying, you're helping us, and I guess that makes you a customer. Listeners, people.
Satellite. Sat-il.
Do you want me to spell it satellite for you? It's spelled S A
No. No,
T
no, no. I
E
figured it
L
out.
L I T E.
I was spelling it wrong, but I found out I could find it with only spelling half of it, so.
So I'm thinking about getting that 6E Asus gaming router.
You're probably going to end up with a divorce.
No, I've already got sunk costs into the other routers. Let's return this one. I think it's like half paid off already.
You don't need it. You don't even have anything that can take advantage of it.
But I will.
Will you?
And I'll have a router that already can deal.
By the time that you can get something that's 6E, they're already going to be out with 7, and the 7 one's going to be even cheaper.
Yeah, right.
Besides, you want to get rid of your... Is it an X1?
The tri-band Wi-Fi 6 routers are around $400 starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tri-band Wi-Fi 5 is like 200 average, maybe even 150 even.
I think I paid somewhere between 200 and 300 for the one I have now when I got it new. But that was
I think
like
I paid 2 for mine.
4 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi 5 seems to die randomly, so I think I need to get a new one soon.
That's why I decided to upgrade. I think I have too many devices on my
Mine's not
Wi-Fi, and
necessarily...
I might have been asking a lot of it.
Mine's not necessarily too many. It'll just like drop out, or like for example, my iPhone will disconnect from it randomly, and then it won't let me reconnect to it. Like it keeps saying the password's wrong.
Oh, at least it tells you the password's wrong. That's the reason I upgraded from my last one, is because it just dropped it and then said it's not available, and that makes casting from my phone to my Chromecast a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah, because your Chromecast isn't on all the time.
Oh no, the Chromecast was fine. It was my phone isn't on the network, so I can't cast to my Chromecast.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Uh
I
huh.
see.
And I have the security measures in, so it's you have to be on the network and a loud device to be able to cast to it.
I see. I see.
So I was realizing
Yeah.
we kind of tangented a lot. We did to
Mhm.
cover a lot of things, I guess.
Mhm.
Not as much as we kind of had in there, but
I have one more thing I want to talk about.
all right, bring it in. What is it?
Minecraft with VR.
On the Xbox? Sweet,
No.
the most powerful machine out there.
Okay. I can't argue on that because I don't know, but I will say that they don't have a very good game inventory. So, no one plays it. I won't say no one plays it, but I haven't turned mine on in months, because actually in years, because there's not any games that games that I would play are on other consoles. So, that's my 2 cents on it.
All right.
But,
So really, what this is for PlayStation VR.
yeah, it's for PlayStation VR. So I'm not sure.
Actually,
I'm
that
kind
would
of
have been
tempted to buy Minecraft for the PlayStation just to see how it is, but I feel like it would be disorienting. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I could see it being disorienting. I could see, but I also could see it working due to it's not fully real. So
No, yeah, I could see that too. My thing was Like moving around is going to be, well, no, you use your controller, so you're just moving around with the controller. But um, I don't know, maybe to be fine. I'm just like, what is my issue with this? Oh, like I don't know. I just feel, I don't
Well,
know.
this is you need your DualShock controller, so that does all your thing. That does your movement,
Hmm.
that does your crafting and choppy and fighty movements. All the VR is the thing sitting on your head, so you're not going to even be moving around. It is just you sit on the couch and you play with this thing on your head.
Yeah, maybe I'd like that. I don't know.
That wouldn't be so bad actually, because it's kind of like even when you get the like use the VR things for your phone when you put them in and it has the and you have a controller set up, you can just like move around with the controller.
Yeah, I never got to experience that with my phone because the only phone I had, I tried it on. It wasn't very fast, so it made me dizzy.
Yeah, I
But
understand. Mine was okay. It was okay enough to be like, oh, this is a thing. I get it. I need a
yeah,
better phone.
well, no, just having a phone be your VR thing, it just isn't worth it because your phones are usually pretty heavy just because they're basically a battery with a screen on it.
Yeah,
So you have that sitting on in front of your face and it puts weight on your neck and your neck gets tired after a while and yeah. The PSVR isn't necessarily the lightest thing, but it's way lighter than my phone would be attached to a VR headset, so
but yeah, it could be. This is. I don't really also with the weight. As long as the weight is distributed well, I can see that you could have something heavy-ish, but as long it'd be more like a helmet at that point. But it's cool
yes
that
and
it's
no. But
coming to PlayStation
mhm.
because it's been out there for Oculus, Windows.
Has it?
Yeah, it's on Oculus Rift, Windows mixed reality, and Gear VR.
No, I didn't know that.
Another one, Oculus, and obviously joking around about the Xbox having Minecraft VR. Really, you missed the bigger story about that. Would be that the Xbox gained VR.
They didn't, did they?
No, they that to my knowledge, they might be doing something with the next release, or but that's also something else that's going to be interesting is because the price ended up getting leaked out for the next gen Xboxes,
Mm-hmm.
and Sony hasn't announced their prices yet.
And they probably won't for quite some time.
Their event, the PlayStation event, is let's see, it's coming up. I know they just announced when it was going to be.
PlayStation events.
Did you find it?
Is it the state of no? Never mind.
Yeah, I noticed that one too. I was like, that's all the previous ones on
These
there.
are all the previous ones.
Yeah, I was like, I think I clicked the blog. Um, what was the next one? 5,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, they revealed it already because we all
Well,
know what it looks like.
yeah. What they reveal. Okay, so
Which
the
I really like what it looks like. But
you can so pre-order and release date revealed. So it's when's the event? I'm like, waiting for them to do the event.
are you
What
sure
country
they've
am I on?
announced it? Did you not just imagine this?
No, they announced the event, not the pricing.
Oh,
But
I found it.
somebody, yes,
No, never mind.
you did find.
I did not.
Oh,
I saw an article that I thought was recent because I don't remember that it's September. I thought it was August still. I know we're far into September already. So maybe I can limit my search results down to the last week.
That doesn't help. I just clicked on one that said 5 hours ago. Yeah, price release date will come. Except there's one from like 11 hours ago that's saying that later. I know they announced the event.
So there was a tweet that was deleted because it wasn't supposed to be sent out. And there's supposedly going to be an event today, by today being the 9th of September.
Maybe that's what I was hearing about. So back on with the Xbox. So the Xbox Series X, the bigger, more beefy one, is going to be priced at $500. The cheaper Xbox Series S system is going to be priced at $300.
Isn't the Series S already out?
No, the Series S is the cheaper X.
They have a cheaper Xbox One already, and I thought that was called the Series S.
It might be Xbox One S. Remember, they do
Oh,
that type of
you're right.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't like Xbox's naming scheme.
Honestly, they're following what Sony used to do. Remember? Actually, they're following what a lot of cell phones have done. Remember, there was the S editions, iPhone S.
No,
There's
no.
the second.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's still numbers on there.
Oh
So
yeah, I forgot. It's Xbox Series 10. You're right.
No, that's not even what they're going for.
I know. I was making fun of Apple.
It's just like you had the Xbox, and then you had the Xbox 360,
Yeah.
and then you had the Xbox One.
Yes.
Which, do you mean the original Xbox, or do you mean the new Xbox? And then they decided to just tack on an X onto that, and that's their next generation.
Yeah.
Whereas PlayStation, you have the PS, you have the PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. Yeah, it's not super original, but at least you know what one they're talking about.
Actually, it's not Xbox One S. It's Xbox One S, because that was the thing that they were. That was the joke. Also, was that the Xbox One X spells Xbox. You have the X, and then you have the B for box.
Yeah.
Then you have the O for one, and then you have the letter X. It literally Xbox One X spells Xbox.
Yeah, I don't like it. At least with the like Nintendo stuff. Yeah, they don't have a number or a naming scheme or anything on there, but at least the names of the consoles are different every single time. I'm not talking, and we're gonna forget about the Wii U.
Well, what about Apple? You know, there was the iPod, then there's the iPod 2, then there was the iPod, iPad. There was the iPad. Here's the iPad 2. Then there was the iPad 1. And there.
Yeah, and I'll give you that one. I don't get that. The iPhone is the only one that I understand. Their old iPods used to also make sense. I'm not talking the touches. I'm talking like the video,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then you had like the iPod Nanos, and they actually used to say second generation or whatever, but in the end, they ended up just dropping everything. Mostly because that product was end of life, I'm guessing. So instead of just being the iPod Nano, like 7th or 8th gen or whatever it was, it's just the iPod Nano. So I don't know. My rant is just that I don't like how Xbox has named their stuff, because I can't remember what's what, but maybe that's just because I don't care about the console that much, so I don't pay attention to it.
All right. There is a price.
Is it a leaked price or an official price?
You can pre-order the PlayStation 5 25 karat gold edition.
Yeah, and how much is that?
10 grand.
That's a lot. But then again, there was a Apple Watch that was also near that much, if not more. So
Well, I guess it's 10,500 because it's over in UK realtors putting the price tag at £7,999 for the 18K rose gold version and £8,099 for the 24K gold version.
ooh, what's rose gold look like?
Pink.
Is it
So there you
pink?
go. There's your rose gold is pink. It's a pinkish
Okay.
tone.
Well, because it depends. Like some are really pink, and then some are just like only slightly pink. Like the name, like the color when people
Yeah.
use it. It just depends on the manufacturer.
So with the what you had found that must have been today must have been what I was hearing, and I just didn't catch the date because you're right. I'm not seeing anything for any events that Sony's releasing at this current time. Well, Xbox says there's stuff out there, but everyone's like, we'll see how it happens. And Xbox has even been like, or Microsoft has been super open about like what's inside it, which is kind of interesting.
Microsoft isn't, or
They have been, yes.
oh, well, yeah, because they basically like everybody knows it's just a basically a PC now. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's more like a PC than it's ever been. And I know the original Xbox also was an Intel processor, but it had more stuff in it that made it not so much. So
But there's been like breakdowns. People have like, oh, this is the pieces that are in it. This is how it goes together. This is like they've been sharing a lot of information about it. But I also think they kind of have like a lot of specialty stuff that was made for it. That even though they're like publicly going it, they're like Sony. So this is what we're releasing. If you're not already about here, you're not going to catch up because we had this special made for us. They're kind of like doing like what Apple does, like, oh, we'll tell you what's inside. Of course we will, because we own the entire market on it. What's inside? We own those chips. Like nobody
so
else can get them.
that brings up another thing.
Yeah.
I'll put this video in the show notes too, but basic. So the Xbox 360, PS3, and GameCube. You know how they were
Yeah.
all PowerPC based.
Yeah.
Well, okay, they were all PowerPC based, which is just a type of processor.
Okay.
And basically, the thing is that IBM contracted out to all three of those, and I think they all thought that they were getting like their own special kind of processor because they weren't able to tell like when Microsoft signed up with them, they weren't able to tell them that, oh hey, Sony's also doing this because contracts, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically IBM just like dipped their toes in all of the console market for that generation and won pretty big for it, even
Uh,
though the processors themselves had so much issues.
hmm.
But yeah, I'll put that in the show notes. The video's by a Modern Vintage Gamer, I think is his. Yeah, is his channel name. So after I find it, I'll put it in there. But unless you have something else to say, we should probably be done. Because that's taken like an extra 20 minutes
Yeah.
to talk about this for some reason.
Because it's so much fun.
Yeah, we nerd out. And then I go on rants about stuff that doesn't matter.
Rants are fun.